Hello, everybody. Just a couple of things before we get talking about the Jupiter-Pluto conjunction that is approaching at the end of October. I wanted to let everybody know that I have regular special offers on my astrological services page these days. As a matter of fact, at the time of this recording, there are presently offers open on several different types of consultations. And if you're interested in more information on that, you can find a link above. In addition to that, if you want to go join my new astrological social media platform, absolutely free, you can do that at the link, which you're now going to see up above in this video, and I'll post those again at the end. So you get the feeling that you should, well, just be patient and persevere with a sense of hope that the tide is going to turn sometime soon. But the question is, what should you be patient with and what should you persevere with? Okay, should you be patient with a set of conditions which no longer seems to make any sense to you whatsoever? Should you persevere in dealing with those conditions and just being patient and waiting your way through it? Or should you be patient and bide your time to activate change in an appropriate direction? And should you then persevere in making sure that those changes come through to fruition? You see, you're facing a little bit of a dichotomy, and something that you're kind of sensing or feeling at the moment has you feeling a little bit restless. Something doesn't make sense. Something at the root of it doesn't seem ethically right. And you're dealing with a set of conditions that you don't know if you should just tolerate it or if you should not tolerate it anymore and be a little more determined towards pushing through for some change in a direction that's going to be better suited to you. Now, it's really tricky doing astrological work because the moment that I say something is the moment that you're going to go, oh, he's talking about this, and oh, he's talking about that, or oh, he's talking about the other thing, or oh, he's talking about what's going on in the world. And to be quite fair, it can fit and it can apply to all of those things. It's going to be personal, it's going to be global, most especially because you're dealing with Pluto. It's going to manifest like on the global scale, whatever these changes are, but you're going to be going through your own inner personal revolution during this time. And notice that I mentioned the word revolution during that because this is very revolutionary energy. The last time before this year that these two planets conjuncted each other were in the years that led up to the American Revolutionary War. That's the last time that Jupiter and Pluto, before this year, conjuncted each other in Uttara Ashadha nakshatra. Now, over the course of this year, they've done so twice before, once around April and again around the middle of June. And now they're beginning to apply between the 23rd of October and the 15th of November for the most intensive part of their alignment, which I usually judge in a particular way, but I've always found to bear really excellent results. So in the midst of all this, you're beginning to see something. You're beginning to notice something that you perhaps didn't notice before. And at first, when you began to notice this, you just kind of went, that's odd, but perhaps that's just my imagination. How can I be sure that this is really what I'm witnessing? How can I really know that this is honestly and truthfully what's going on? But when you begin to sit with a set of circumstances long enough, even though you might not want to believe what is seemingly becoming apparent before your eyes, eventually you reach a period of time where you can't deny the essence of what it is that you're seeing, even if that essence of what you're seeing makes you feel frustrated, even if it arouses your ire and gets you really angry. One part of you wants to ignore that. But the other part of you knows that you can't ignore something that is beginning to become clearer to you. So here's what you have to question. We go back to square one. Do you just tolerate something that you're beginning to feel is intolerable, that you're beginning to sense is, not ethically correct? Or do you take what you sense to be the appropriate steps to begin to bring some changes into action that are more in alignment with the way that you think that they should be? In a sense, can you actually do anything about the circumstances that you're dealing with? Well, it may feel to you like, in regards to whatever situation this may apply to for you, that you're like this big and you're dealing with something that's like immense, maybe even like that, on like a huge scale, to the extent that you're going, what can I actually do about that? But if everybody took that attitude about any change that they were wanting to create in their own personal life, or any change that they wanted to see globally, nothing would ever change in the direction that, perhaps you're feeling that it needs to at this particular moment in time. So if things are going to change, it is going to require action. And if things are going to change, now is an appropriate time to do that with this applying Jupiter-Pluto conjunction. This is a really powerful alignment, but it's going to take place in a couple of different ways. And these are some things that you need to be aware of over the course of the coming weeks to help you to understand a little more clearly what might actually be going on in the background or in the recesses of your psyche in response to what's going on out there, right? So when Pluto manifests certain things in our life, quite often they begin to start with a fear, or they begin to start with mass hysteria. We sense something, it arouses a concern within us. Sometimes that concern actually devolves into a deeper fear. And the moment that that fear sets in, suddenly it becomes larger than life. And Pluto has that particular effect. I like using the analogy when I try to explain this energy of Pluto to other people is, imagine if you had a friend over, right? And, you were kind of going about your regular business and you didn't see your friend anywhere around. And all of a sudden you go around a corner and somebody goes, "Blah!" right? And jumps out and like they've got a mask on, right? Sorry, I hope I didn't scare you. Okay. And they've got a mask on. And when they jump out, it freaks you out and scares you. Now, if you didn't have anybody in your house, you're going to be really freaked out. But if you had someone in your house, and you knew the person, then you're going to go, oh, okay, that startled me, but I also know that it's, that it's something that I'm familiar with, or it's a friend. Well, the fear that Pluto brings into our life can work in the same way. All you have to do is recognize that fear, even though it may have a basis, even though it may relate to something that's actual and tangible, at the end of the day, it is fear, right? You can choose to have both fear and the responsibility of dealing with whatever it is that you have to deal with, or you can choose to face that fear and do your best to change the situation that's approaching. The moment that you decide in your power to face that fear is the moment that suddenly that hysteria, that anxiety, it all begins to fade to the background. Jupiter, if we remember and we understand, is our sense of hope. It's our sense of faith. It's our capacity for optimism. It's our ability to find meaning in the events that we're facing. Now, granted, Jupiter's been, well, a little bit weak this year, but just because Jupiter's been that way and it's been, kind of creating that type of an environment, it doesn't mean that you can't find that strength, that hope, that faith, that optimism, and yes, that patience and that endurance to turn the tide in whatever circumstance this might be for you personally or globally. It doesn't mean that you can't find that strength at this particular moment in time. Now, Jupiter and Pluto in their conjunction are kind of connected a little more distantly to Saturn. And that's what's creating this sense of a need to persevere, this sense of a need to have patience, equally mixed with this feeling that I'm stuck. Things aren't going anywhere. Things are taking a really long time. And at the root of it, I don't really feel like I have a really long time. Interacting with these two particular planets is also a Mars retrograde cycle that at the time of the deepest part of this alignment, it will be heading into, it will, I think, already be in Revati Nakshatra. And you've got a retrograde cycle of Mercury through Swati Nakshatra. All of this is creating a level of restlessness and equally some hints of feeling like I can't do anything, but you can. And the more you kind of approach that that situation with this feeling of I can't do anything, is the more that energy is going to bottle up inside of you. You need to not let that energy bottle up inside of you because it will just become destructive. You need to use that energy for actual potential and positive change. And if you'd like to know how this bears upon your own particular situation, as I mentioned before, I do offer several different levels of astrological service. All of these are available through the Astrological Services page of my website. You can find that link above. And also just a reminder to you, because I'm really excited about the new social media platform called the Galactic Lounge. You can find that at the Pulse of the Universe Academy of Vedic Astrology. Registration for the Galactic Lounge is absolutely free, and you can do that at the link that you'll now see above. That's going to do it for this look at Jupiter's conjunction with Pluto in Uttara Ashadha Nakshatra, which takes place for the most intensive part of it between the 23rd of October and the 15th of November 2020. Until next time, please do take the very best care of yourself. Bye now.